Much better.
On behalf of the Safe and Sound Award Committee, it's my pleasure to announce the 2022 recipient of the Excellence in Hearing Loss Prevention in the Manufacturing Sector is the Northrop Grumman St. Augustine site in Florida. The site includes 151 acres and 38 buildings of office and warehouse space. The facility produces, modifies, repairs, and overhauls military aircraft. Their accomplishments can be attributed to the company's strong safety culture, outstanding leadership, continuous innovation, adequate resources, as well as continuous operational improvements. They've demonstrated excellence in several areas of hearing loss prevention, including ongoing noise monitoring, noise controls, buy quiet strategies, individual hearing protection fit testing with a wide variety of devices, state-of-the-art communication enhanced hearing protection, reviewing and analyzing pure tone audiometry results, and continuously improving worker training to ensure relevance. Employees at all levels are engaged in these initiatives. Northrop Grumman's mission of maintaining the highest quality of workmanship in everything they build recognizes that the health of the environment and the employees are fundamental parts of their strategy. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Julie Edwards, Environment, Health, and Safety Manager at the Northrop Grumman St. Augustine site. Welcome, Julie.
Thanks, Ted. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. And mic check for Dr. Jay Hall. Are you on, please?
Yes, can you hear me?
Excellent, great. I hear you, Jay. All right,
Okay,
thank you so much, everybody, for allowing us to come and present today and for this fantastic award. This is my first time with the group. Had a lot of fun listening to the speakers last night and the roundtable and just the real welcoming group. Previously, one of my counterparts, Nancy Haw, who's on the conference today, she told me how enjoyable this group was and I was going to have a fabulous time. So far, I really am. So thank you, everybody. So let's get into it. Let me introduce my team. This is our environmental health and safety team and our medical professionals. From our new hire experience, you know, everybody on our team gets involved with our hearing conservation program, whether it's our onboarding, our initial audiometric testing, noise dosimetry, and again, like I said, our new hire experience. We take every moment we can to introduce our folks to the conservation of their hearing, because we are at a very noisy site. So again, this is the team: Adrienne Brown, we've got Tammy Hayes, an RN, myself, Gina Williams, Quinn Sudrette, our other RN, Javier Garcia, and a few folks not in this photo I'd like to share: Russ Carter, Gavin Murray, and Dr. Jay Hall, who's also on today. So this is our site. We are a manufacturing facility, again, really noisy. We are the home of the Navy military aircraft, the E-2D Hawkeye. Beautiful aircraft, handcrafted by artisans at our site there in St. Augustine. We're right next to the runway. So again, we can talk about, how noisy that could be. So we are a great team of employees that are providing, quality products for our warfighter and our veterans themselves. So it's really great to be after our speaker, Jim Schultz, today, because he's definitely made some strides in military and veteran hearing. Here's some of our program elements. We're not, developing our rocket here. We're, doing what we need to do to help conserve hearing. Audiometric testing, like I mentioned, because we do have over 85 decibels with our high T riveting. We do our noise dosimetry education and training. But another layer is we do have a 3M EarFit dual validation system. We also use a CEDRA questionnaire that Jay will talk about. Employee management and engagement, has some images of that. And then we take every opportunity to communicate to our employees all the health and safety elements and benefits to them. So that's what differentiates us. We also have corporate wellness that promotes hearing conservation, from diabetes management, smoking cessation programs, weight loss, and more. So again, it's not just at our site, but at the corporate level, we're all interested in hearing conservation. Our audiograms is our first touch point with our new hires as they come in. And then, of course, we have the ear fit validation system. We take both of these, we have two nurses. We take both of these times to really, take our time with the employees, have conversations with them, and really educate them on hearing loss and, the benefits to them of using the hearing protection that we're showing them is benefiting them. The other thing is, it's not one size fits all. So we do offer a lot of different types of hearing protection. We do use all 3M because we have a 3M booth there. And some of our activities will also require double hearing protection. So again, it's not a one size fits all. And this is just a kind of a one department's selection of hearing protection. So besides, fitting them, testing them, we have to go out and make sure the noise levels haven't changed. Are we using new tools? Did we add some more tooling? Has the exposure changed because we've added more employees to the floor? So again, we have a lot of data. And before 2015, all of our different departments, let's say, so building all the different parts of the aircraft were in separate buildings. So in 2015, we all became one big happy family and under one roof. So it meant, more noise exposure. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So this is our main manufacturing hangar. Again, this is in 2015. We all became one big happy family in one roof, building the E2D. So you can see the sound level is actually a little bit different in the departments. Again, we do have high T riveting. We've got the flight line, which has our double hearing protection. And then the gray area there with the lower noise levels is our support shop. So making more detailed parts, things by hand. Our weld shop is in there. So again, a lot different noise levels as you see throughout the building. So with that said, as we were going into this building, we wanted to, prevent and promote the best practices for hearing prevention, hearing loss. And so we did some noise modeling. We had a consultant come in and say, hey, we've got this department that does high T riveting, and we're going to put it over here in this end of the building. How is that going to affect the rest of the population? So as you can see here, it looks a little scary. Our consultants put these noise maps together to show how the noise would pollute the rest of the building. So to be proactive, we installed this lighting system you see here, and anywhere where there's high T riveting in the department was a switch. So you would turn that on, it would light up the building. People would know high T riveting was about to start because it's not a 24/7 operation of high T riveting. There's breaks, there's different parts of the build. So that light would go on and alert employees that they needed to definitely be wearing their hearing protection. Of course, once we entered the building and we put the tooling, the people, all the different buffers to help abate some of that noise, as I showed you previously, the noise dissipates. They're not affected at an 85 plus decibel reading in those departments. So nonetheless, we tried to be proactive. We went with the idea, what we thought was best, and it just decided it didn't work as we saw fit. But again, we want to promote, best ideas, best practices, and try to provide solutions to our employees in the beginning versus trying to mitigate. We have great frontline manager support. A lot of our employees are veterans, so we also have a long tenure. We've been there at the airport in the 90s as Northrop Grumman. Before there, it was Grumman and Fairchild, so it's a heavy aircraft manufacturing facility there. So a lot of tenured employees have been working there even before the Grumman days. We have people that have started as mechanics. They go into management. Our manufacturing engineering group is the one that buys the tools for us. And part of being a large company, people are trying to solicit this is a better tool. It saves time. It saves money. It's ergonomically friendly. One of the first questions our manufacturing engineering group asked them is, well, what's the noise levels? Is it less noise than what I already have? And almost 100% of the time, they can't answer that question. So it's part of our best practices in introducing new noise into our environments because, these people are our friends and we want them to be safe. And, it's a small, long tenured family there. And they really appreciate all the safety measures that are introduced. Again, very engaged workforce here just shows you, the different hearing protection and a little bit of our manufacturing floor, gives you a glimpse. The other thing is, it's not just the initial, so it's the ongoing education, it's the ongoing meeting with the employees, definitely during their audiometric testing every year, is there a shift? Do we see potential? Is it maybe some of their hobbies? It might not be work related, but we want to make sure those employees are educated to the best of our ability, and we, conserve and preserve their hearing. So we do have a lot of data on our employees, and I will let Jay Hall, our audiologist, take it from here.
Thank you, Julie. Well, I'm the professional supervisor at Northrop Grumman. I have been for 2 years. And obviously, as you've just heard, the program for hearing conservation there is innovative, and it's very effective. But as in addition to my normal duties as audiology or professional supervisor, I wanted to augment and enhance the opportunity to prevent hearing loss, or at least mitigate hearing loss related to noise. And also, as an audiologist, clinical audiologist with over 40 years experience, to make sure that any employees who had ear disease were promptly identified and referred, and that was taken care of in interest of their overall health. If you go down to the next slide, Julie. Now, there's a lot of data at Northrop Grumman. One of my overall considerations, in addition to my lofty goals in preventing hearing loss and identifying ear disease, was to make sure that whatever I recommended could be implemented in any hearing conservation program that wouldn't require a lot of more money, personnel, equipment, etc. So I came up with 2 basic strategies. One, let's talk first about the early identification or even prevention of noise-induced hearing loss and inner ear damage, cochlear damage. We're following 2 strategies there. One is to identify lifestyle factors that we now know put a person at risk for hearing loss. And probably one that's most important based on the literature, particularly in the last 10 years, is smoking. And Julie's already mentioned the smoking cessation program. We've found, with analyzing data for over 500 employees, of course, there's many more data points because many of these employees have worked for 20 years or more at Northrop Grumman. We found that smoking, that is the employee report of smoking, is a predictor of noise-induced hearing loss. So that offers 2 opportunities. One is get them to stop smoking, because the research clearly shows, including meta-analyses and large studies, that if a person stops smoking, the negative effects on hearing and tinnitus stop, and sometimes there actually is improvement in hearing. So that's one goal. The other is, if we know an employee is a smoker, then we can perhaps focus a little more attention on them in terms of monitoring, counseling, and making sure that their hearing protection is adequate. So that's one example of prevention of hearing loss. Another is looking at the audiometric data, which we have, and any hearing conservation obviously program has, and trying to determine, are there any subtle indicators which would tell us which employees might be likely to develop noise-induced hearing loss and ultimately perhaps have a standard threshold shift. And we went back to an old idea that really goes back at least 25 years, to the mid-90s, on looking at the threshold for 6,000 hertz, which of course is available. And we've found that 6,000 hertz changes in threshold at 6,000 hertz for the right and the left ear are predictive of later noise-induced hearing loss. Now, that's just preliminary data, but that's a very valuable potential tool, because we all have that data available. And it will give us an early indicator that we need to focus on that individual employee to make sure that we can prevent or at least mitigate hearing loss. On the flip side is the ear disease. And we have 2 ways of documenting or determining which employees are more likely or more at risk for ear disease. One is the audiogram, again, looking for asymmetries, differences in thresholds between the 2 ears. And we've developed, and I should tell you, when I say we, it's not just the folks at Northrop Grumman. My good friend and colleague, Dr. Tony Joseph, who many of you know, retired Navy audiologist now and associate professor at Illinois State, helped a lot with my data analysis. And what we found was that a very simple algorithm can identify employees who have an asymmetry that would typically warrant a medical referral or referral for diagnostic audiology. And you would be surprised at how many employees at a typical facility like Northrop Grumman meet that criteria. We found that close to 1 out of 5 employees have an asymmetry in the audiogram that would meet clinical criteria for medical referral. So what do we can't send all of those to the physicians or recommend that or to an audiologist. So we've coupled that audiometric indicator for concern about ear disease with a consumer ear disease risk assessment, which is sometimes pronounced CEDRA and sometimes CEDRA. Very quick, takes about 5 minutes to complete. There are 9 yes/no questions, then another 4 questions that have more answers. It's easily scored, and the higher the score, the more concerned about risk disease. So the CEDRA score completed by the employee, coupled with audiometric evidence of asymmetry, triggers a recommendation for referral to rule out disease or pathology. And of course, I include that in my letter as a professional supervisor. Now, I'm going to wrap up by, this is an example of the letter. I know we're a little behind. My letters, of course, focus on determining whether there really is standard threshold shift, but they also focus on ear disease. Okay, and we'll go to the last slide that I'll be covering. The moment I stepped foot on the Northrop Grumman campus and started speaking with the people there about my role, I thought of otoacoustic emissions and the role that they might play in early detection of cochlear dysfunction prior to any evidence of hearing loss on the audiogram. And of course, I've written books on this topic and lectured on it and used otoacoustic emissions for many, many years, over 30 years in my career. Well, I'm happy to report that just this week, ironically, there was delivery of a OAE device to Northrop Grumman. And I'll be visiting next week, visiting the facility to talk about how we can integrate OAE measurement and findings in preventing noise-induced hearing loss. And this literature also goes back to the 1990s. So I think it will be a very positive step in the early detection of any cochlear damage associated with noise and the effective prevention of any hearing loss associated with noise. And with some data, I would hope that we can present our findings at this conference next year in Jacksonville, Florida. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Julie to conclude.
Great, thanks, Jay. Yes, so just to reiterate, I mean, I feel like we can't provide enough training to our employees. We try to, tell them about hearing versus, all the different other elements that, the dangers and hazards we have at our site. We feel like early detection of ear disease will help because we do have a lot of veterans that come in with already, damaged hearing. As one of the previous speakers noted, our mission is to protect and serve everyone's hearing and definitely reduce, and educate them on any predetermined conditions because they might not even know. Our commitment is to the warfighter, and the excellence of our products begins with our employees who, definitely are veterans. So, we're super excited to be here. Thank you so much for this award. We look forward to attending again. And again, like I said, this is my first time with the group, and I appreciate everything and everyone's collaboration. Thank you so much.